Hello, everyone. This is Bruno with a new segment called 10 Minutes or Less with Bruno No BS. A very simple, casual interview. No fancy cameras here. Today, I have the honor to speak with a legend in our roofing industry, Rob from S-5 Metal Roof. How you doing, buddy?
I'm peachy. I just stay peachy.
Let me ask you a question. How long have you been in our roofing industry?
I started in the metal construction industry working part-time when I was still in high school. That was about 1970-ish. Yeah, so that's about how long.
When did you realize roofing would be a career for you?
I used to do ranch work and cowboy for a living, and I realized I wasn't really gonna carve a future for myself doing that. So I went back, having worked part-time in the construction industry when I was in high school. That's what I went back to because it was the only other trade I knew other than punching cows. You know, I first started working for small companies that were doing metal building construction and other types of metal construction. And I guess I convinced myself that I was smarter than they were. So at age 19, I had just gotten married. My wife had a pickup. So this was the capital investment that, that started me off in contracting. And I opened my own company doing what I had been doing for others right then when I was 19 years old.
Tell me about how many business you have, because you told me you have S5 and there's other business too, inventions too as well.
Yeah, initially I was into construction business for a very long time, and I finally retired from that in 1990. And during the last several years of that tenure with that construction outfit doing metal construction, people started offering to pay me for advice. I was real active with trade groups and that sort of thing. And I was kind of a big mouth, Bruno, and enough people must have been convinced I knew what I was talking about. They started offering to pay me for advice. So I still do consulting work, but I realized in that process, that there were some needs out there in the roofing industry, the metal roofing industry, that hadn't been recognized or dealt with. And so I started innovating. I started inventing things, and in 1991 or 92, I filed my first patent. And it was for devices that attach to standing seam roofs and make it easy to attach other things to standing seam roofs. That patent was issued in 1992, and that was the beginning of a company that's now called S5. At the time, I had no intention of starting another business. In fact, I'd sworn an oath I would never have another employee, and now I have many. But that things went on from there, and we now have a fair-sized company that innovates and manufactures and markets devices to attach things to metal roofs, usually in non-invasive ways, and we sell that hardware all over the world.
I need to ask a question because you in the metal industry, roof metal, and there's a lot of controversy. Why recovering with metal is better than recovery with a single ply?
Is that a metal roof is demonstrated, and I'm talking now coated steel roofs. There are lots of different kinds of metal roofing, as you know. But a coated steel roof is now demonstrated service lives in excess of 60 years. And so unlike more traditional roof types, a metal roof will outlast every other roof type there is, I think.
This was actually an article before, but I don't know if you know him. Charles Smith.
Charlie Smith, I know him well, known him for decades.
He did this article about, the dangers of retrofitting, putting a TPO on top of metal because, once you do that, the water now can go everywhere,
What happens, metal roofs oftentimes are over metal buildings, pre-engineered metal buildings.
Right.
And when you think about a metal roof that has seams, you have in essence gutters of a certain dimension running from eave to ridge to carry the water down to the eave. And the structure is not designed for ponding water because it's channeled right off the roof in small increments. And when you cover that with a membrane of some sort, there is a danger that the structure below the old roof as well as the new roof is designed to, to certain deflection criteria. And what happens is if you get ponding of water, the structure can begin to deflect. And as it deflects, it creates a larger pool.
It could collapse. The roof could collapse.
And collapse. And that can happen. It doesn't happen, but I have seen it happen.
So you have any kids, grandkids?
I have 3 kids, all involved in the company business, and I have 7 grandkids. All 3 of my kids are involved in the S-5 business in one way or another. And yeah, it poses some challenges for sure. But to tell the truth, there's nothing more rewarding than to have the next generation kind of follow in your footsteps. But my dad cowboyed when I was young, and we're sort of a 4th generation rodeo family.
What do you see for the future of our roofing industry for our new generation, like your kids, for instance?
Well, I've seen so many things change in roofing over the years that I've been involved with it, which is quite a few. But things get more and more technical, more and more automated, more and more sophisticated. It's become much more affordable today than it was back then.
Any messages out there for the people watching the video? It could be towards the coronavirus or anything.
Bruno, this thing is really shaking the world. And when something rocks your world, whether it's your personal world or whether it's your business world or whether it's some broader thing, I've had a number of things that have really shaken my world personally, whether in business or in my personal life. But as I look back, what I notice is that each time the shaking did come to an end. And it caused me to reevaluate how I did things and so on. So that's what I've been preaching is, hey, don't treat this as a shutdown or a reinvent what you do and think of better ways to do what you do.
I definitely want to shake your hands. Hopefully we'll be able to shake hands.
Before you leave me, I got a better hat than you.
Where is it?
Wanted me to wear a cool hat, and I told you, well, I don't usually wear a hat when I'm working at my desk, but just for you, Bruno, I brought some. I told you.
I want to see it, man. Come on, show me.
Okay. Hat number 1. This is my everyday hat. Hat number 2. This is my dress hat. This is 100% beaver. It's a custom-made hat. Hat number 3. This one is a little different style. It has.
Yeah, you look like what do you call from those West movies, like.
Well, actually, if you ever saw the Tombstone movie, the latest.
Yeah, that's what I was saying,
The guy who made this hat made all the hats for Tombstone. He's a custom hat maker and a good friend of mine, but he made all those hats. He makes about 50 hats a year for Val Kilmer.
Come on, don't tell me I have more.
So that's a custom hat. This one's that's my good guy hat, right?
I like that one. Do you have a bad guy hat?
Well, my bad guy hat is the black one, That's my dress hat.
Okay.
This is my barn cleaning hat.
All right.
That's a throwaway. This is my character hat. That's a Tom Mix crease in that one.
Okay.
This is my summer hat. That's my straw hat. That's for summer wear.
All right.
So, and I have about 6 other ones, but I don't want to take any more of your time.
You don't think it's fun talking to you, buddy. Hey, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time. Be safe out there.